But with that being said, let's actually get into it. Ghidorah. I mostly just did my opinion on the units because self-explanatory, right? Yeah. I did watch your video briefly earlier. I liked it a lot. I gotta finish it though. Alright, first up, Ghidorah. A tier. Obviously, you know what it is. The AoE GOAT, the AoE champion. Ghidorah. So good. Staple of my deck. Amazing unit. Tanky as hell. Give the chef's kiss to Ghidorah. Ghidorah A tier. AoE is amazing. The price is amazing. She got damage buff for no reason. Last season or this season, whatever. Ghidorah is just so good. Ghidorah is so good. She gets benefits from the Biollante buff. She's just so good. Ghidorah better than Jet, even though I use Jet and not Ghidorah. Ghidorah, I think, is better than Jet Jaguar, but I like both of them. Solid unit, but when focused, has low health and can be overwhelmed wisely with is less than decent attack speed. I mean, Ghidorah is one of the best units. Like, for sure. For the AoE that she does, both on death and just in general. A tier, 100%. The energy cost is amazing. Terrestrius. Terrestrius is C tier. Terrestrius is still not D tier. They nerfed Terrestrius. They lowered his regen by 5 seconds, so it was 15 seconds on spawn. He gets regen. Now it's 10. Still C tier. I think maybe last season, or not last season, but the season before, maybe we had Terrestrius in B tier, but Terrestrius is C tier. I'm still using Ultima in my deck every day. Terrestrius is fine, does a decent damage with the bio buff is good. You can use G89's buff on him as well, and he's solid. His main thing now is he's just gonna die super fast. Because he doesn't have regen for the extra 5 seconds. So you just gotta protect him, but you can keep him alive for a long time, and his range is really good too. Imagine if Heisei Mechagodzilla hadn't evolved, where he evolved against Garuda. I wish that they would have Heisei Mechagodzilla and Garuda as two separate units, and if you had them on the field together, that they could merge and become one unit. Kind of like in, have you ever played Teamfight Tactics in the League of Legends launcher? They had a season like of mechs, and there's 3 units, or maybe it was 4, that were mech-themed characters. When you had them all on the field, they merge into one mech. You killed that mech, and they split into 2 units. If you have, like, Heisei Mecha and Garuda in the same deck, they should be one unit, but if you can kill them on the field, they split into 2. I would really like that a lot. Burning Godzilla. This is interesting. My opinion of Burning Godzilla is either going to have a lot of you agree with me or have a lot of you disagree with me. But I think he's pretty run-of-the-mill. I think Burning Godzilla is B tier. I think, in my heart of hearts, I think Burning Godzilla is A tier. Because he does a ton of... When you have him at like level 8. I'm not looking at these units as if they're level 1. I'm looking at these units if they're level 30. At level 30, Burning Godzilla does a shit ton of damage. He does way more damage than you people think he does. I'm going to pull up his stats. Let me go to the data collections page on the Discord. Unit data. Oh, I did not want to open that up in that window. Hold on. I don't think you realize the power that Burning Godzilla brings to the table. I know it's taking me a second, but just bear with me. Bear with me. Burning Godzilla, you say he shouldn't be B, he's low B. I mean, we only have just B tier, but let me go to the data collections sheet. Why do I not have, like, the rest of the characters on here? Where's my rest of my data? Go to my Google Drive. But depending on the meter, he has super low range. Okay, so the meter, it takes him... Unfortunately, it takes him about a minute and a half to, like, fully ascend. But... Where's the... Why is there no stats? I have no idea. So there's a problem, I guess, with my end. Okay, but regardless, I'm gonna get past this so we can move on. Burning Godzilla at like level 10. His second charge will do like a shit ton of damage. He does a lot more damage than you would think that he does. Y'all can say he's bad level 1, but all the force are bad level 1. That's correct. If we're talking about max level burning, then a high A or low S. If you have in a fixed level battle, Burning Godzilla still does a lot. Like, he does a lot of damage. I think he's B because he's slow. He's slow to build up his bar, and he has a very slow attack. It is not safe to use him at the moment if you have him at low level, but if he's a high level, he does a lot of damage. I think he's B. I think with just a small tweak here or there, he could be an S+ unit. He just does a shit ton of damage. He does so much damage. Alright, so we're getting the new units out of the way for this season. I don't know anything about the new All-Star Battle. I know just as much as you guys. Toho doesn't tell me anything. When you guys get the news, I get the news. I do not know what the next All-Star Battle is going to be. If I had to guess, it's going to be Space Godzilla or Kong. That's just going on an educated guess on who I think it could be. But let's talk about Kiryu. Kiryu is a really good unit, too. Kiryu is underrated. A lot of people give Kiryu a lot of shit, but Kiryu is actually really good. Biollante Mothra larva is tier A because it is slow and will benefit from burning Godzilla, slow him down. Oh, I'm not going to give a unit an A tier because they can slow down another unit. I mean, it is a factor, but you think Kiryu's B? Kiryu's good at 4. Kiryu's really good at 4, 5. Let's say we put him behind Jet and 90s Mecha. It would take him forever to get to the other side. Yeah. I mean, you can stall Burning Godzilla for a long time. But at the end of the day, it takes him a minute and a half to get there. And if I'm fast, you can stall him all you want. But if I can put units on the field, like just as fast as you can, I can probably get to your Burning Godzilla and blow him up before he reaches anything important to mine. Kiryu is an A tier unit. Jumping right back into that. Kiryu, for one more energy, he's a better version of the Missile Strike, which is the number 1 factor. Number 2, he's got a sick-ass animation. I can't even talk about his leader ability because we're not doing the leader stuff. But his damage output is pretty good. It's pretty solid. His damage output is good. He does splash AoE with the missiles. And you can place him anywhere. Placing him anywhere on the field is very solid. I don't think he is a high A. I think he is a low A. Kiryu is a really solid unit. He doesn't have too much health, so you can take him down very easily. But you can place him anywhere. He gets the benefit of dropping missiles down wherever he goes, so he can take out a swarm before he even lands. And he's pretty deadly on the battlefield. He benefits from Biollante's buff. He benefits from G89's buff. I think he benefits from Kong's buff. He's overall just a really good unit, Kiryu. Is he a unit that I recommend in your deck all the time? No, but Kiryu's definitely a good one to have. I'm a big fan of Kiryu. All right. You see this? You see who's next on our list? You see who's next on this list? Godzilla Ultima is so good. He is so good. Godzilla, literally, okay. I'm willing to compromise and move Ultima into the A tier. But he has... Let me put this into perspective for you. Ever since Season 1, Godzilla Ultima has been in the meta. The whole time. The whole entire lifespan of this game. It has been 9 months. 9 consecutive months, Godzilla Ultima has been one of, if not the best character. Like, period. Especially now with Biollante's buff, or you use G89's buff, Godzilla Ultima is insane. the Shape, one of the #1 players. I don't know if you're in here, but if you are, I would love to talk to you, because my Godzilla Ultima is level 10, and I absolutely ran train on the Shape the other day with Ultima. He is... Okay, but Jaden, Ultima, you say Ultima's A, he's slightly worse because of the Terrestrius buff, but see, Terrestrius has already been placed. Ultima and Terrestrius on these lists, just like all the other evolution units, are graded separately, not as one. They're graded as individuals. So if you took out the fact that if Ultima and Terrestrius were two separate characters, which for all intents and purposes they might as well be, Godzilla Ultima is insane. First of all, the only unit in the game that has more range than Ultima is Super X. Okay? Ultima does a ton of damage. Let me give you this as well. Godzilla Ultima had Terrestrius nerfed so that instead of 15 seconds of regen, it's 10. Okay, it's harder to kill Terrestrius. But when you get him, you still have Ultima on the field, right? He also had his... What did he have however long ago? He had his attack speed increased, and he still remained one of the best characters in the game. I'm making a strong case for Ultima. He hasn't been on our A or in the S tier spot for a really long time, but because of all the new like leaders you can be using, he's definitely like 100% is taking the cake. If you can get your Ultima out in the field, he will reshape the battle for you. Because it's something with me, a lot of you guys do it to me all the time whenever we stream, and it's you try and kill the Terrestrius as soon as you see it, right? How many of you guys on stream right now, you can put in the chat, when you see a Terrestrius on the field, you try to kill it as soon as possible, because you do not want an Ultima on the field. That should be telling you everything you need to know about Godzilla Ultima's placement. There's not a single person in here that goes, when I see a Terrestrius, I just ignore it. No, as I know for a fact, all y'all motherfuckers, as soon as you see a Terrestrius get placed, you're putting down a King Caesar, or a Mothra Leo, or missiles, or whatever, or G89. I know you're countering him as soon as he gets on the field, because Ultima did not fuck around. One of the best characters of the game. Godzilla Channel says, I don't. Probably lose all your battles. Ultima is more Chad than Super X. I'm speaking hard facts. I know everyone in here, I guess except for Godzilla Channel, everyone counters Terrestrius as soon as he appears, because you do not want Ultima on the board. S tier, Ultima. Pre-Evo Fire Rodan just needs to reduce evolution times so it'll be easier for him to evolve. It's true. I agree with you, Zandler. But I have these two flipped around. Okay, so I think Fire Rodan is A tier. I think some of you will probably say it's B. And I think he's A tier not even because his attack is any good, but he has the best healing in the game. Fire Rodan is B tier, mostly he's just used now as a better healer. I mean, yes, King Lefty Lucy. He is currently the best healer in the game, and I talk about it in my 4-star review video, which isn't out yet. It was supposed to come out today, but it wasn't done, so I had to fix it up, and it didn't come out yet. But I mentioned that he's the best healer in the game. He does more healing than the Psychic Chorus, and he does more healing than Mothra. It's just the healing. Like, his damage to me, it just doesn't even register. Like, I don't even care about his damage. Yeah, he can get the Biollante buff. I think he's a little too low for the Godzilla 89 buff. But he will win you a team fight. I'm not saying he's the best unit in the game. I think he's a low A, high B. Not the best unit in the game. You basically are sending him in to die. Like, his purpose is to show up and die. He's like Burning Godzilla, except Burning Godzilla does damage. He does healing, and I would rather have Fire Rodan die on top of my Ultima and win me a battle than anything else, which I've had happen before, and it's insane. Because if you can't kill something, like, he just makes things unkillable for, like, a little bit. But his pre-evolution is terrible. His pre-evolution just pecks everything. And it just does not, it's not great. And you all know it's not great. Maybe can you try the Mega in Fire Rodan? Is that like just a Megagurus Rodan combo? No one uses him. Fire Rodan is definitely underrated. And I promise you, if there's ever a buff to Rodan 1993, the basic one, if his evolution time gets cut by like what is it now? It's like 25 seconds or something, like 30 seconds, something like that. If his time gets cut by like 5 seconds or 10 seconds, everyone is going to be using him. Everyone is going to be using him because the healing is so good. If the only thing that gets changed on him is that his time is reduced, it's gonna change the game, because what other units are seeing a lot of play after their time was reduced? Batra's time was reduced and he's everywhere. Ghidorah's time was reduced and he's everywhere. You know, I'm trying to think of anyone else who had that time evolve. I think Mothra Larva might have had their time reduced as well. They tried giving pre-evo fire and a health buff, which isn't what he needed. Yeah, and it shows because of his lack of play. Exactly, Jaden. That's exactly right. It's impossible to use. Yeah, you're exactly right, Jaden. They gave him a health boost, which is fine. It'll keep him alive longer. But he moves too fast for the speed. Ghidorah, for those of you who are newer to the game, in season 1 of the game, Ghidorah had an evolution time of 30 seconds, and with their speed, they would be across the map in 10 seconds. They would be in the leader's face, and then they would die. They would be impossible to evolve. When they cut Ghidorah's evolution time down to like 20 seconds or something like that, and then they lowered her speed drastically, and now she's extremely playable. That goes the same for Fire Rodan. If they lowered his time to evolve, you'd see a lot of play. Alright, if you watched my silver review, you know where this is going. D tier. Airplanes suck. Or choppers suck. The choppers are not that great. And the only thing that really separates them from the M-Boss is that they do not have a slow. They are basically showing up and launching a low-powered missile and then dying. They can be really great for like stalling if you want. The M-Boss base is way better for stalling than this. It's just terrible. Just put it in C and move on. No, it's going in D and I'll be moving on. Anguirus. This one always hurts the most. Anguirus is a C tier. I don't think Anguirus is D tier, but Anguirus really doesn't have a place in the meta. He's very slow. He is not incredible. Anguirus is a good C. They should be a good shield against King Caesar. Yeah. I mean, he's good at eating like Caesars and Leos. He's a solid tank. He's one of the first characters all the new players get. And if you have nothing else, Anguirus is not a terrible option. It's just as you progress the game, better options become available to you. I don't have anything too bad to say about Anguirus. Honestly, he's pretty run-of-the-mill. He used to be amazing in Season 1. Anguirus was the G89. He had insane health and damage. After Season 1, they nerfed him, and he's just never fully been able to recover. He's a solid C tier. He's not a very bad unit. He's not a bad unit. It's just as you progress the game, you're going to get units that are better than him. Okay. Bro, I see some Batra slander for Batra B tier. Batra Imago's A tier this season. I think some of you will make a case for S tier. I don't think Batra Imago is quite S tier. But definitely A tier. Definitely Batra Imago has had a glow up this season. Psychic Chorus should have a buff increasing HP and time in the field. It deserves a C tier unit until it gets upgraded. Yeah, the Psychic Chorus was really good a long time ago, and then it got absolutely thrown into the dirt. But Batra Imago S, insane buff, very good damage. If he goes in C, I will find you. No, I didn't put him in C. I think he's an A tier. I don't think he's a B tier. I don't think he's an S tier, though. His buff is good. But to be honest, I mean, I don't see a lot of people taking his buff into consideration. His buff is really good when you're like, a lot of your units are close together. But a lot of people are putting Batra down and then having him move up on the field, so no one is able to benefit from his buff. But unlike in a team fight, if like someone is approaching my leader and there's like a bunch of enemies, I have like my Ghidorah on the field or like a Manila, and I drop down Batra onto them and they buff the Batra, I mean, that's a good bit of damage right there. I don't think it works in junction with the Biollante buff, but between using the Batra buff and then when that ends, I can pop a Biollante buff, I can basically ensure I have at least a 15% damage buff for a minute. You know, it'll be 15 damage, 15% for like 8 seconds or whatever, and then I can use the bio buff. Batra's really good at stalling time, fast, easy to evolve. I think it's A tier. I think Batra is A tier. I think S tier should be resolved or held for like the creme de la creme that we have. Batra is very close, but I don't think Batra is A tier. I also don't think Batra is essential to any decks. Batra Larva has actually moved up for me as well to B tier while we're talking about Batra. Batra in the Batra Imago now takes less time to evolve and had also a damage buff. So both of the Batra forms have had their damage increased. I mean, it's pretty solid. It's probably the highest, one of the highest pre-evolution units we're going to get now. The damage is solid. The evolution is easy now. And then Batra Imago's A tier. It's just very, very good. All right. Biollante Flower. Biollante Flower actually is also B tier now. They hooked up Biollante, man. They seriously see these guys because he's really good damage boost. I mean, he can die quickly, but like so does Kiryu. You know, he has good damage, he has a good damage boost, and he's easy to evolve now. I mean both of them actually. The Biollante Flower form is pretty strong. It'll die really fast. Gets a buff in water. They had a huge buff. So I think both of these pre-evolutions are B. Alright. You want this next one? Controversial take. No one is running. Biollante S tier. Biollante in water is insane. Both of them in water is really good. Biollante final form is maybe the best unit in the game. Period. Like end of story. Period. Best character in the game. Let me read you. Let me read you this by Brahma, what he said to me. Or what he said in the Discord, actually. I should be more specific. And I mentioned this in the 4-star video that isn't out yet, and it will be out, so it bears repeating. Let me read this to you really quickly before y'all get carried away. Let me find Brahma's message. Oh man, he had really like intelligent shit to say about. Okay. Come on, man. Where is the big text? He has a long, big piece of text talking about Biollante. But the gist of it is, and you'll see it in the video, you're saying she's A tier. She's the highest damage dealer in the game. Biollante. For, what is it, 3 energy? I can't find it. God damn it. Let me look from Brahma. Damn. Alright, I can't find it. Okay, but the gist of it goes, the highest damage dealer, the highest DPS in the game is Godzilla 21. Okay? Next is G89 because of how much damage he has. Next is Biollante. Biollante has the best damage because of the way her buff works in water and her attack speed. She is one of the best damage dealers in the game, and I'm really upset that I can't find his exact text on this situation. Because he made a really big thing about Biollante being one of the best units in the game. In the meta section too, and I literally cannot find it anymore. And it bears repeating, but I literally can't even... Maybe if I search up for Biollante and he mentions it, I don't even know. Because I searched up Okay, I found it. I found the exact quote from Brahma. So Biollante got a 12 to 15% buff on her HP and her attack when she was just most recently buffed. Level 30 Biollante plant is now the 3rd highest single target damage dealer in the game at 412 DPS. Godzilla 21 has an infinite damage increase. G89 is 665 damage per second. Considering Biollante is an AoE unit, she's effectively the highest damage dealer in the game if she is attacking more than one unit. Also, if spawned in water, she gets an 80% attack buff that will last until she dies. Biollante's self-buff brings her attack to 741 DPS, making her the highest effective single-target damage character in the game. That is a fact. Biollante now has more DPS than G89 does. She technically has more than... She technically doesn't have more than G21, but she can attack faster than G21's increases. Biollante, if you stuck with my reasoning so far, and that makes any sense to you, Biollante might be the best unit in the game, and she's not being run by anyone. She's a great leader, don't get me wrong, and we're going to talk about that in a bit for sure, but she's such a great leader that no one is using her as a unit. If you're running a G89 as your character, you should run Biollante in the field because she's crazy. Because for a couple more costs, you can deploy the Chad Kong, the Real Monkey King. I'm drinking a compelling point, but mine will melt too quick. Yeah, but your Biollante is a low cost character, so it's gonna take, you know. So if you're using Bio in your deck, you're not using Bio obviously as your leader. A good leader to use is Kiryu. A good leader to use would be G89, because G89 can buff your more other expensive units like King Ghidorah and like Ultima. So Biollante is definitely S tier. No one is running her because she's an amazing leader, but she's also an amazing unit on the field. So if you're not using her as a leader, I recommend just try slotting her into your deck and just let me know how that goes for you, because I promise you it'll go pretty well. Bomber D tier never was really any good. A lot of people say that Bomber used to be good. I never really thought Bomber was good ever. Destroy a Larva was the original aerial counter, and Bomber was bad. Bomber is beyond S. It's so good with my third eye. Yeah, Bomber is an A+ tier. S+ tier. Psychic Core is also very bad. Psychic Core used to be very good. F tier just for... No, it would just be like Bomber tier. It's just like garbage. Psychic Chorus used to be very good. It's not very good anymore. It got nerfed so hard. Everyone was using it. If you used it in conjunction with the Mothra leader ability, it was really great. And it's just terrible now. Ghidorah B tier. Ghidorah has insane potential. Ghidorah could be an S+ unit. Ghidorah is a little too slow, and the burn damage never increases. To give you a perspective, Burning Godzilla's ability scales with level. Every level that you get on Burning Godzilla, you increase the charge damage that he does when he explodes and dies. When you level up Ghidorah's burn does not increase as you level it. Ghidorah is kind of slow for attacking. He's fast to move. He's slow to attack. He has a large range, so he can easily turn around. If you put a King Caesar under Ghidorah is going to turn all the way around and go for King Caesar instead. The piercing is insane. Can't be fully stun locked anymore. Great stats with buffs, is very dominant and can change games. It's not as good as King Ghidorah. The range on Dez is amazing, but the tracking on Dez is terrible, right? Because the range is so good, if it locks onto a King Caesar and it goes right under it, it's going to track that King Caesar all the way and turn around completely. It's not going to ditch it like King Ghidorah will. The attack is very, very good. I mean, Ghidorah is literally one change away from it being an S+ unit, you know? And, I mean, it's hard to level because of All-Star Battle, but if we're looking at this from, like, a fixed battle or something, like, if we do a fixed battle and everyone's is level 20, and you place a Ghidorah on top of my team, it's only doing 80 damage to everyone. Like, that's terrible. The burn damage should scale as it levels. It doesn't. It's slow. It can't be fully stun-locked anymore, yeah, but also, it's one of the slowest attackers in the game. It's like, what are the four slowest attackers now? Are, like Burning Godzilla, Godzilla Ultima, Ghidorah, Manila, Ghidorah, and G89. But if it's really good for me, it does its hard level as good as it does is too easily distracted. Exactly. Like, okay, I don't have to worry about stunning him anymore. I can just throw a Caesar under him and I don't have to worry about it. Why did Toho do the thing where everyone only gets 2? Toho, I 2 Ghidorahs. He's event exclusive, so he's only been around for 2 of the All-Star battles. So tomorrow you'll be able to get your 3rd Ghidorah if you're free to play, but I know there's a lot of people that have him at like level 7 or 10 already. Destroy larva C to B tier. I actually think they're C tier. I was gonna put them in D tier, but after using them, to do the challenges, they're not the worst. They do benefit from the Biollante buff, which is kind of crazy. They're just easily killable by Ghidorah and King Ghidorah, so not amazing. They're actually, if they had their energy lowered again, I think they would be all right, but they're a little too expensive. All right, which Godzilla's can Burning Godzilla beat in Godzilla Battle Online? I don't know what Godzilla Battle Online is. Godzilla Battle Line. None. Burning Godzilla, unless he's a really high level, is not gonna be able to 1v1 any of the other Godzillas in the game. Yeah, exactly, Spence. C is not a very great unit, but very solid damage. If you use the Biollante buff, they can be pretty powerful. Dimension Tide, I think is I think is the A tier this season. Dimension Tide is kind of crazy now. A lot of the top players are using Dimension Tide. Yeah, when you had Bio, she would whip them a new one. Yeah. I mean, the Destroy Larvae suffer from the same thing as all the other swarms suffer from. They're not bad. They're just a little bit expensive, and they do get the Biollante buff. I enjoyed using them to do the challenges. I actually was placing them a lot. I wasn't just slotting them in and forgetting about them like I did with Burning Godzilla. My Destroy Larvae are at least like decently leveled up. So Dimension Tide, unironically, I think is in the A tier this season because it got a nice buff. Achiev's looking great so far. Thank you. But Dimension Tide, why the Battle Pass stopped giving gold and rainbow maps and only gave 3 basic maps the last 2 times they bought it? The Battle Pass gives you rainbow maps at level 50, so you have to get to level 50 to get the rainbow map. So Dimension Tide unironically is A tier because it is now 4 energy to use. You can place it anywhere. It kills all swarms. It does a ton of damage to pre-evolution units, and you can drag units around the screen with it. It was 6 energy, was basically the worst thing in the world. But with this now, I can for 10 energy, I can place a King Ghidorah, and then use the Dimension Tide to pull a bunch of your characters all into one spot for King Ghidorah to start hitting. Especially, and then if I wait a second, you know, I can use the Biollante buff and get my King Ghidorah to do more power, or my Ghidorah. The Dimension Tide is not for the damage, but for the versatility that now that it is a 4 cost, and you can pull units anywhere pretty much on the board. You can place this anywhere on the board. For 4 energy, it is way better. It was unplayable before. It is good now. The Dimension Tide buff really did actually help it a lot. It's seeing a ton of play, especially in the higher ranks. Toho killed the Super X. Lies. Toho did not. The Super X is still extremely strong. Dorats are bad. You bring up a good point, Jaden. They're good against ground locked units, but will get wrecked by an aerial unit. The unfortunate thing is, currently, AoE is ruling the game, ranged units are ruling the game, and 90% of the AoE and ranged units can also hit flying. The Dorats can't really get too close. They can rinse through Jaguar and Anguirus or a G89, but King Ghidorah, Ghidorah, Mogira, fucking Kiryu, Manila, Ultima, Destroy Larva, the Emboss, any of the Mothras, Rodan, like I go on, Super X. They're not great. I don't know what could, you maybe left them and they said they're bad. I mean, I don't know what I could add to the Doras to make them viable at all. Maybe if they were stronger, but I don't even know. Energy Collector. No, I know y'all are going to have something to say about the Energy Collector. Energy Collector is now 6 energy to place. It used to be 5, and the total energy you get back from the Energy Collector is 8. So, if we start a match with 10 energy, and you place Energy Collector down, that is now 6 energy that you've placed to get your 6 energy back over 45 seconds, right? I can place Terrestrius, I can place, for the same price that you put down the Energy Collector, I can put down Manila, I could put down Biollante, I could put down the Biollante buff. I think I could also probably put down Manila, I could put down the Kamakura. Energy is not that great. You say Energy Collector is still good. I want you to describe to me in vast detail what makes Energy Collector good. You spend 6 energy just to regain 6 of it back over 35 seconds. Energy Collector only gives you 8 energy over 45 seconds. It never gives you more energy as you level it. It never gets faster. The charge, the only thing that increases is the health. Energy Collector, the good thing about it is it's just as viable at level 1 as it is at 30. You know, you just got to watch out for missiles and stuff like that. It can be countered by anything that hits a, like a factory, like bomber. Stealth Bomber counters this thing. Gigan counters this thing. Mogera, you just drop Mogera, you drop Kiryu on it, and it's gone. So say, if you place Energy Collector for 6 energy, and I wait, and I see it, and I drop Kiryu for 6 energy, your Energy Collector is gone. Maybe you get an energy back. You're now out 5 energy, and I just dropped a huge tank on, or a huge, not a tank, but like a huge unit onto your thing. There's no point. There's no point in Energy Collector if you're able to put down Biollante or Kiryu down, or even G21. Sunday is great. Yeah, it is C. It's good overall. I mean, it's good to get the energy back, but I don't think it's terrible. I didn't think it was good to begin with. I don't think the trade-off was worth it, but it's just worse now. I would have put it in B if nothing changed, but it's worse now. Sunday A tier. Unironically, I feel like this is the unironic tier list tonight. Baragon would likely to disagree with you. I've beaten Baragon. We fight. He beats me more often, but I've beaten him. I don't think the Energy Collector is as good as everyone says it is. It's not. And the Sunday is as good as everyone says it is. The Sunday is great. The Sunday got a nice little buff this season, and it's super handy. It's way cheaper, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's the same price or it's way cheaper or not, but like, it's just great to just freeze units now, especially with Manila nerf. Sundays comes in handy a ton. Really hope the freezing Sunday gets upgraded so they can also slow bring Godzilla and all evolution units down, but no damage dealt to enemy units. Plus, with the reduced cost of Mogera, you have an extra energy and you're pretty solid unit to attack effort. Yeah, Baragon needs to be in this game. Baragon is such a cute little doggy. Sunday's A. I think Megagurus is better than Sunday. Megagurus, I think, is better than Sunday as well. However, I'm not judging units against other units. Sunday has now vastly proven itself to be as good as it is now. Sunday is a really good utility. Sunday and Dimension Tide, unironically, are 2 of the best units you can use in the game. A lot of people are just met on them. Maybe find it understands the power of Sunday Dimension Tide. Yes, after months of being a non-believer. Godzilla 21. Godzilla 21 is A tier. Oh, there's gonna be Super X slander for sure when we get there. There's gonna be Godzilla 21 slander in about 3 seconds as well. I have seen and been rinsed by more Godzilla 21s in the last 2 weeks than I ever have in the entire time that he's been in the game. Godzilla 21 is oh, before I get that, King Luffy, no, you cannot stack Sunday and Megagurus. You have to do it separately. Same with Manila and the M-balls and stuff like that. G21 obviously has infinite damage. So, like, that's just insane, right? He does not have a lot of health. That is what everyone is like, oh, he doesn't have a lot of health. He can't do a 1v1. There's lots of characters in this that can't do 1v1s. Burning Godzilla can't win a lot of 1v1s. Kiryu can't win a lot of 1v1s, you know. G21 is incredible. G21 is is, in my opinion, probably the best unit in the game, period. He's just incredibly difficult to use. And a lot of people are like, I could put him in B tier because he's hard to use, right? But I don't understand what buff I could give him that would not make him overpowered. You could increase his health, and he would be just he would be the best unit if he had more health. If he did more damage, he'd be crazy. If his attack was faster, it would be nuts. Okay, so if Godzilla 21, answer me this right now, if Godzilla 21 wasn't immediately shut down by Manila, would he not be one of the best units in the game or played constantly? Name me that right now. That would be my change. If I could change anything about him, it would be that he does not stop attacking when Manila hits him. If Manila acted like the Sandes if Manila acted like the Sandes and stuff like that, and the M-Boss where it would slow him, but it wouldn't stop him, G21 would be one of the best units in the game. Fact. And he's buyable in the shop. So, exactly, Professional Raph. That's actually a really good point. He's buyable in the shop now, so you can get him to a higher level, which would make him a lot more viable. He will have more health the higher level you get him. 21 is great, but people love to swarm him, so he can't do crap, so he's a good distraction even if he doesn't get a hit. You can, if you put him with a, if you put him behind a G89, if you put him behind a, Jaguar, he'll do a lot. He'll do really good. G21 is he's really good against single units and can devastate, and I don't remember if the Gigan saw he can reach him. Yeah, I think he can be hit by the enemy leaders, but if you have him enough health, he can stay alive for a long time, and you see him in the single player stuff. He just crushes it. He's so good. He's so good. Like, everyone is sleeping on G21. And Jaden's right, if you deploy him solo, you're like a moron. Like, he needs to, I said this I think when I reviewed him, he's a VIP. Like, you need to pair him with something. Hedorah Flying Form is S tier, which is one of the best units in the game now. Hedorah Flying Form is a C tier. I don't think Hedorah Flying Form is D tier. Its only purpose is evolving, but it evolves really easily, and it's doing constant damage. I mean, if you drop down Flying Hedorah, she just vibes and then evolves, right? She just like is hanging out, she flies around, and then she evolves. It's really hard to have her die, right? You have to be extremely close or like late in the game for her to be killed by anything because she's so slow and her evolution time was cut, and she's just doing constant damage. If like a Kamakura walks underneath her or something else, she's gonna do a little bit of damage and then it's over, and then you have Hedorah. She's pretty good. She's not terrible. She's just like, or whatever. You place her, forget about her, she's gonna evolve. I don't think I've ever had it not evolve, unless it was like someone was going out of their way to get him, like all of you fucking people when we do friend matches, you know, trying to make sure I don't get anything to evolve. But I mean, she's really good, so you place her, you get her out of the way, and then you get Jet 21 better version. If Hedorah is CISO as the Dorats, no. Hedorah is C because she has one purpose and she fulfills it. Dorats, I'm not even sure what the fuck they do. They show up and they die. Hedorah shows up and does what the one thing she's supposed to do pretty consistently. Dude, season 1 when Hedorah Flying Form was just like was at the other side of the map in like half a second, she was literally unplayable. It was insane. I think G21 should be buffed to leader along with the thermonuclear pulse ability. What are your thoughts if this happens? I hope it does not happen because I do not want him to be a leader. Kong is a leader, and that's fine. I do not care if G21 becomes a leader or not. It's one of the best units, period, in the game. And I'm not even sure what the thermonuclear pulse would even do. Melee exposed. Characters 5 goes. Yeah, okay, so the Kamakura Swarm. 5 cost. You get a lot of Kamakuras, which is good. They don't really do too much damage. They're really good to just be blocking. Not amazing unit. Dora's fucking version of Kamakura, yeah. Now, the regular Kamakuras, I think the regular Kamakuras are B. I don't want to put them in A because they're good for body blocking. But they are cheap. What is it? 2 energy for them. You get 3 of them. They're good for stopping single target characters like G89. You're not going to kill G89, but it's going to slow him down for a little bit. You can use them to distract King Caesars, Mothra Leos for protection. They're pretty good. They're run-of-the-mill. They are average. Regular Kama is S tier. I mean, they're definitely the best body blocking unit in the game for sure. King Caesar is S tier. King Caesar is very good. King Caesar is one of the best units to stop pre-evolution units. What is a major focus of the meta? Can everyone say with me? Pre-evolution units. Caesar will cut down in their tracks Terrestris, Biollante, Batra, and Mothra Larva. King Caesar is amazing. King Caesar is a very good unit. For 4 cost, he does a shit ton of damage. King Caesar is great. Love him. North Kamakura, S or A, just great overall. That's because Meta doesn't like bombers. Great destruction for cheap cost and actually do decent damage. Listen, if you want me to put the Kamakura up a tier, I will, but I think that they are B. They're really good. They die to like everything pretty fast. They're just good for distraction. Like, their sole purpose is to show up and die. Is to distract, pretty much. King Ghidorah. His lack of priority target and the amount of things that can stop him, like Mega and Thunderstorm. This is true, and like Manila can stop King Caesar and stuff like that. But you can't deny the damage he does is insane. He basically one-shots all of the pre-evolutions. I think Biollante and Terrestris he can't one-shot, but he can shot the 2 larvas. And in a game where you are trying to not let the other person have an Ultima on the field or a Batra on the field, or if they're using a Biollante, you want to try and take them down as fast as possible. Yet there's a lot of ways to counter King Caesar, but you can also, there's a lot of ways to counter, you know, G21, Hedera, Batra, you know. I think he's the best of the rushers out of the 2 of them, but he's not. He's like a low A. He's like a low A. And I think King Ghidorah is A tier too. I do not think King Ghidorah is S tier. King Ghidorah S, great stats and stable to decks with buffs, can destroy most units. King Ghidorah's S in this season with the meta, he's insane. All the 4-stars should match him in terms of viability. Shit, you guys actually make a really good point. And he gets the Biollante buff, which is really good. Oh, gosh. Ghidorah literally deletes everything. He's a perfect defender for evolution units. He is Mr. Meme Stealer. He's massive damage to Terrestris or Ultima and then only needs a few more hits to finish. Okay. No, Ghidorah is A tier because a little bit stupid sometimes. King Ghidorah is an A. I think he's an A because he hasn't really done anything differently than he's done the last 2 seasons. He's the same. His AI is a little dumb. Yeah. Oh yeah, you said it right there. His AI is particularly dumb. King Ghidorah hasn't really done anything different than he has been doing. He hasn't gotten nerfed or buffed. He's just being used a lot. He's good, but he could be taken down with Ultima, Batra, Maga distracted. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be probably the hardest one to place. Because he's being used everywhere, and he does synergize well with a lot of good decks, but he's not overly powerful anymore. He's done the same thing that he's been doing a few seasons. I'll put him in S. Because he has a great AoE. But when his AoE's range was better, he was really good. That was when he was... that's when he should have been S tier, but we didn't place him S tier, I don't think. He's good now. But he was good last season, too. Like, in between this season and last season, nothing has changed. I'll put him... I'll leave him in the S tier. You say he's high A. I mean, I don't think he's an S tier character. His stats just don't compare. I'm moving him back down. King Ghidorah is an amazing unit that is a staple in every deck, just like King Caesar is and just like Hedera is, but he hasn't done anything differently than he's done the last 3 or 4 seasons at this point, since his range was nerfed. He's great in so many situations. He's not an S tier unit. But in all fairness, he has my recommendation, my seal of approval to go in your deck as a guaranteed slot in. I think that if you have a high enough King Ghidorah, you should put him in your deck. If you have a Biollante leader, you should put King Ghidorah in your deck. While he may not be S tier and among these two insanely powerful units, he is incredibly powerful in his own right. He does a lot of things really well. He's probably the best at most of the things he does, and he benefits a lot from basically all of the leader buffs that don't have any kind of specific cap on them. He's really good. He's really good still. A tier. Marka Light Cannon, B tier. Marka Light Cannon does a lot of damage. Actually, Marka Light Cannon is the slowest attacker in the game. Marka Light Cannon is a 4-second attack time, and as soon as you place it, it starts dying. So, hypothetically, if nothing comes Marka Light Cannon's way, it's not going to do anything. I don't think that it's a waste of time to level it up. It is very powerful. I think there are definitely better units to be running. If you want to put your coin into it, it's not a bad investment. Ichan, I think, has one at level 30. It might have been actually his first level 30 piece. I don't remember. You'd have to ask him. He might be here in the chat. I like the Marka Light Cannon. It's not terrible. It's not amazing either. I think it's good. If you're going to invest in it, sure, but I think there's other units you can be investing in. Good damage doesn't see enough play. I think if its attack speed was faster, it would be ruling the meta. This is literally one of the best defensive pieces you can possibly play in the game. It just has the slowest attack out of any of the units in the game. It has amazing range. Actually, it might have just under the same range as Ultima. It has amazing attack damage. It's just super slow. It's just super slow. I think it's really good. I think it's a B tier for sure. Cannon's strong, but a lot of units can counter it. I mean, if it was faster, it'd be the best defensive unit in the game, period. Mbob base. I almost want to... And you need offense to win the games. I mean, you do need offense to win the game, but the best offense is a good defense as well. I'm playing... Most of the time I play games, I play them on defense. That's why I have a lot of range. Like, I use the... I use Vanilla still. I use Terrestrial... Or Ultima still, because they're really good for defense. You know, Marka Light Cannon is great on defense, and you don't have to place it in the beginning of the match. But I lost my train of thought because Jaden has now made me, he goes, do you see what you've done, Rodan? And, I mean, listen, Fire Rodan's healing is the best healing in the game, period. I don't know what you want me to tell you. See, okay, Mbot base is B. I was thinking about putting Mbot base in B. I almost feel like I want to put it in C, but originally I was thinking it should go into B. Mbot base is better than the choppers. It's good for placing units on the field. There's been a few times where I've struggled to deal with them. But it can be useful. Oh, you're right there. It does stun lock certain units. It's not going to stun lock a 21. It's not going to stop G21 from attacking if he's in the middle of an attack, but it can prevent him from even starting it. Trying to think of how to justify that it's in B. 5 energy. It pumps out a bunch of units. Decent, not amazing unit. If you want to run it, go for it. It works really well with Mechagodzilla leader buff, but at the end of the day, it's just like a kind of a whatever placement. Kind of... I mean, I feel like I almost want to put the Mbot pair in D tier at this point. They die in like 2 hits, 4 energy. I would rather spend the extra energy to get Super X onto the field than I would to place the Mbot down on the field. Not good in the meta right now with the AoE attacks. It unlocks Manila. The Mbot pair I don't think is... the Mbot pair used to be really, really good, and then it's just... It hasn't had like a buff or nerf or anything. It's just fallen out of favor. Mechagodzilla, B tier, 4 energy, great AoE. The original King Ghidorah counter. Not space, but Mechagodzilla has like a lot of health. You know, he's got decent health. He has a decent attack. He has the original King Ghidorah counter. He's one of the first units you get in the game. He's not that bad of a leader either. He's pretty beefy, and he has the only pushback in the game. But he's not an amazing unit. I'm not gonna recommend you put him in the deck, but he's definitely not C. I mean, he's a good unit especially for beginners, but he hasn't had any substantial buffs or nerfs. He's pretty well balanced unit, especially for 4 cost. He's really B. He's slow for 4 costs. He's really good. Mine is like level 22 or something, 23. I like him a lot. I haven't used him in a little while, but I really enjoy him. Megagurus is A. Megagurus is definitely A, and if you go back and watch the last tier list, it has the same explanation. Megagurus slow is really good on defense, and she's super tanky in the air. Mecha is a definition for early game unit with his basic playstyle, but he's still really good. Yeah, he's really good. He's like a really great starter unit. So is Megagurus. She's really good. Her slow is still amazing, even with Sunday being meta. And her damage, she's really strong too. She's not the fastest, but she's a really great counter to a lot of flying units, especially like if Batra is preoccupied on something else like a G89 or like a King Ghidorah or an Ultima or something like that. Mega is gonna run through him. Mega is high A, certainly Mega God tier for Manila. Dude, Manila is amazing. Mega is definitely A tier. Alright, controversial opinion. Manila is still so good. Manila is so good. Manila is still so good. Oh my god. They are so dumb. Toho is so dumb. They increased his attack speed so he can't stun lock anything, right? If they wanted to make Manila unplayable, they should have just raised him to 4 energy. No one would have played Manila for 4 energy. Manila for 2 energy is so good. It is so stupid. Manila is still so good. What is his attack before his attack speed before he was nerfed was 2.5 seconds. Okay, guess what? Guess what his attack speed is now? 2.8. They raised it by 0.3 seconds. Manila for 2 energy, best slow in the game. Okay, he can't stun lock. Okay, he can't stun lock G89 and Ghidorah anymore. He can still shut down G21, dead in its tracks, and he can stun lock Burning Godzilla. He's slower than he was before, but his energy is amazing. His range is amazing. His attack speed was increased from 2.5 to 2.6. He's so good. If you're gonna use the missile strike, then just use Curious. Actually, yeah. I mean, Manila is so good. Manila is so stupid good, and he's really honestly has a lot of health for a 2-cost unit. He just eats up damage left and right. He's great for body blocking like Caesars. He's cheap. His range is crazy. Him and my Ultima are basically my freaking ground troops. Him and Ultima just roll up and start blasting things from like a mile away. Manila is so good. Manila is still so good. Toho is so stupid. They should have if they wanted to make him unusable, they should have changed his energy cost. If they left everything the same and they made him 3 energy or 4 energy, he would never be played. Period. All right, missiles. I want to put the missiles in the C tier, but I have a feeling the missiles actually belong in the B tier. The missiles are not that good anymore. They're good for beginners. Sometimes people try to use the missiles on me, but I don't know. What does that say? Loki figuring out ultimate team to make from this list. Oh, Bob Smith, of course, dude. This is what this list is for. This is the ultimate. This is the dream team simulator maker right here, baby. Choose range crazy, really good. Yeah, okay, but I'm putting the missiles in the C tier. The missiles are decent. Maybe they go in the B tier. Why missiles when you can use the train bomb? I don't even think the train bomb is that good either, to be honest. They're pretty run of the mill. You've made the Discord angry. They wanted Ghidorah in S tier. I don't give a shit. Where let me go look at the Discord. Jump to the present. Pain A tier. Well, you know what? You should come into here. I said I would look at the Discord, but I haven't. I had it minimized. I apologize. He said S, but put it in A. I said S to clear up. I said S. I was putting it in A first. First of all, if you want to run it back, Discord, I put Ghidorah in A tier, and then y'all said S tier, and I listened to the arguments, and I listened to the counter arguments. I put it back in the A tier. Melee, my man, how are you? Oh, Lane, I am living it up, baby. I hate the missiles because almost every time I see them, it's because my opponent is spamming them. This fair. Yeah, I don't think the missiles are too powerful. If I were dead for battle line, I would just replace Mogera with literally anything else because they would do more than Mogera. Well, I mean, it's subjective. You couldn't give Megalon the same kit as Mogera, and if Mogera was never in it, it was Megalon. You could be like, oh, I would just play as Megalon with whatever, because, you know, it's... Minya S tier still has wave trolling. Yeah, but missiles are C tier. I think Mogera is B tier. Mogera, I would have put Mogera lower, but Mogera now has that lower energy, but they're still not very strong. Mogera is a good example of a unit that is not aged very well, because I managed to get my hands on the Space Godzilla hot sauce. Oh shit. You gotta let me know how that is. I have not tried the Space Godzilla hot sauce. I didn't want to buy that one. I just bought the 5-pack of the normal ones you saw in that video. It is S tier. I don't have luck on GBL. You'll get it. It's all RNG. Can you do a live stream for a question and answer video? I could do a Q&A video. But let me explain to you how, in my head, I think it's going to go down. 99% of the questions are going to be, what monster do you want to be in GBL? And how would you do it? And I get that asked to me every single time I'm on stream by someone. Next, people would ask me what I would change about the game, or they would ask me what do I think of G 2019 Burning, or do I want Void Ghidorah, or do I want King Ghidorah from the Monsterverse, or what's my favorite Monsterverse character that I think should be added. A lot of times I get a lot of the same questions every single stream. So maybe I could do a Q&A stream one day, but I mean I answer 90% of the questions that are asked to me on normal streams anyway. Megagurus has been my Giga clutch unit for winning matches since the beginning of the game. Never took him out of any team. Kept him as a staple pincher with Kiryu. Very strong case made for Mogera. This is fair. You use Mogera a lot. I think it's Barugan. Okay, it needs to be in the game. Mogera is a good unit. Mogera is not a great unit anymore. Mogera having the energy lowered is extremely helpful, but because of the they nerfed him, or I think it's a robot, they nerfed it like however many months ago, and then it was never the same, and then now they lowered the energy cost, which is great, and it's seeing a lot more play because the energy cost. But if you drop a Mogera on my leader is gonna kill it in like 10 seconds. Like at this point in the game, I mean, Mogera was just nerfed too hard. Mogera is a poor man's Kiryu, so that's fair. Mogera is good. I don't think he's amazing. Especially like a lot of people are like, oh, you gotta use the Mogera Kiryu pincer. But Mogera is like, you watch my video, it's like a non-factor. You can do it with anything. I've made my reasoning in the Discord. Let me look. Ghidorah's a really good unit because of his good health, and he can distract units while something like the Super X or Hedera does AoE from the ground, and even that does good damage. Salty. We getting Ghidorah S cap. That's pretty funny. I'll keep the Discord open. I gotta like read at that. I'm trying to also read chat at the same time. Okay. Next. Mothra Larva bad. Yeah, Mothra Larva bad. I mean, I feel like I can't even give it a fair adjustment now because its purpose is to evolve, and I gave Hedera C tier because its purpose is to evolve. And Mothra Larva slows. However, Mothra Larva does not travel fast enough for you to really make use of the slow. Then it will just be crushed by King Caesar. Mothra Larva needs something going for it, man, because it's just not great. Right now my Mogera's level 20 and clutching level 4 Kiryu. I mean, I believe you, Bob Smith, but I want you to know that you could use Kiryu with literally anything else and accomplish the same thing. Mogera is a good unit out of convenience that you can place it anywhere. I would rather use Kiryu for the extra energy than a Mogera. Personally, if you are having success with Mogera, I wish you all the best, and I want you to continue to have success with Mogera, and I would like to hear more about it. But Mogera, I mean, at least for Mogera and Kiryu combo, it is a non-factor. You could do it with Super X for the same amount of energy. I could cure you and Ultima. I could cure you and Caesar. I could cure you and whatnot. You know, the whole thing with the cure you pincer is that it's 2 units at the same time, right? And Mogera is out of convenience because you can place Mogera down instantly, and then you can place cure you down instantly for 1 more energy if you have 10. But you've now just spent 10 energy to get units right up in my face, and then I can spend my 10 to get Ultima on the field, and then Manila, and then the Kamakura Swarm, and then run through your pincer in like half a second. So it's gonna... Okay. Melee, Ichan is wrong on his tier list because I do see differences on each of you guys, but this is the community choice, so is he wrong? No. Ichan's list, BB Pew's list... It's subject. I mean, a tier list is subjective. A tier list can be whatever you want it to be. You know, if you guys said to me that Ultima was D tier and gave me valid reasonings for it, I would put him in D tier. Most of this is from my own opinions on the characters, right? And then I'm taking what your guys' thoughts into consideration. So it is a community tier list. We're doing it together. Most of these are my thoughts on the game. And because I have an opinion that, you know, I don't share with Ichan, it doesn't make any difference. I think all the tier lists are valid. And I think that you should be getting your information from more than one spot than myself. If you watch Ichan's videos, he has different thoughts on different decks than I do, and he has a different tier list than I do. And if you want more varying opinions, go look at his list. Go look at BB Pew's list. Treacherous is in C tier. I'm testing with others, although not all of my units are high enough levels, so if not cure you, I use some G21 or Ultima. Hear me out, Mothra Leo should have a long attack range and also shoot a net. I think there's a very solid chance we get a different Mothra and Larva eventually in the game, either as a separate unit or a pair, and I think then we could get like a better stuff out of it, I hope. My King Caesar's more useful than I thought. King Caesar's really good. I mean, Jaden is not wrong, you're right. Oh, congrats on level 5 cure you pull. Midstream, that's a stream luck. I gave it to you. Where were we? Oh, Mothras. Mothra Leo is a B tier unit. Mothra Leo has the fastest speed in the game only when it's charging. Go to the Biollante Discord for different opinions about... Oh, there's a lot. Listen, there's a lot of opinions in the Godzilla Battleline Discord. We love to talk about it. Mothra Leo is B tier. Mothra Leo is not amazing. Mothra Leo... Is Mothra Leo more expensive than King Caesar? What is Mothra Leo? 5 energy? King Caesar's 4? But King Caesar does a little bit more damage than Mothra Leo does for the charge. But Mothra Leo's, when he is using the rushdown, him with rushdown is the fastest unit in the game. So that is actually like something really strong. So remember the GBO Cure You live stream? Dude, I had mega streamer luck, baby. Let me go look at the stats for... Okay, so King Caesar is 4 energy. Mothra Leo is 5. Yeah. For 1 more energy, I would rather use Caesar. He's better. I have a whole video on comparing the two when Mothra Leo first came out, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but King Caesar is the better version of Mothra Leo. Every single match for this guy, you use Leo to counter Ghidorah, as he did decent damage, but it would end up dead. Yeah. I mean, Mothra Leo's going to get to where it needs to go extremely fast and do a ton of damage and then immediately die. At least King Caesar, once he makes contact, he's alive for a little bit longer. Regular Mothra, or Mothra, like, what is it, 1992, 1993 Imago, it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty good. It's not, like, an amazing unit, but, the regular Mothra is solid, I'm not even gonna lie. I like her. I'm not using her too often. She's pretty cheap. She's easy to evolve into. If you want to use her, go for it. If not, don't. I mean, it's not gonna make or break your deck, which is unfortunate because she is one of my favorite models in the game, but it's really good. So when they started to make the PP, all their units was level 20, so their QU was level 20. Yes, that's how fixed battles go. Everyone becomes level 20. My Burning Godzilla is at level 2 and will soon be 3 unless I pull more Burning Godzilla pieces. What is your Burning Godzilla? My Burning Godzilla is level 1. I used Leo for a bit, but it did well, but isn't a win condition at all and needs a little bit more damage. Mothra Imago used to be very, very strong. Used to be very good. She didn't get nerfed or anything for her damage specifically. There's just units got buffed and stuff that are doing what she does but better, so it's unfortunate. Rodan, the 1964, 63, whatever year this Rodan is from. it's a decent unit. It's one of the first units you get in the game, so it's pretty basic and is like a run-of-the-mill starter kit of like, hey, this is a flying unit and it does damage to everyone in the field. There are better units. There's a better Rodan in the game than this Rodan, but I mean, solid stats all around. Not a terrible unit, not a win condition, but cheap, nice to use. You get them early on, so there's a chance that yours probably a little bit more powerful than most people's. You know, if you've especially been playing the game for a long time, you probably have it almost the 20s. Space Godzilla. I almost want to put Space Godzilla in the A tier, but I don't think he deserves it. Even when I ran Space Godzilla in my deck, I never really even ran it for Space Godzilla. I was running it for the crystals. And the crystals actually just got a buff. I should throw the crystals in here separately, to be completely honest. He's good. Rodin used to take out Ghidorahs for me when paired with Mothra, but besides that, he's mainly distraction. Space is worse. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, something is going on. I mean, his crystals are really good, but he's just not hitting what he used to be hitting. Last season, I've been fighting a guy making combo that I've never seen, actually, but it's probably very common. It's Megagurus and Rodan. Yeah, a lot of the flying decks will use the two of them, because you can get them both in the field. Rodan is good for beginners, yeah. On his own is B tier. Yeah. Space Godzilla on his own is B tier. When you have the crystals and something to back him up, he's really good. Like, if you have a Space Godzilla in the front and then Ultima behind him and Ultima gets the crystal buff, that's an extremely strong combo that is, like, a devastating pairing, you know? And the crystals can help you with, like, multiple units on your team. But, there's a lot of AoE units in the game at the moment that are running the meta, like King Ghidorah, Hedorah, Jaguar even. I mean, you can throw Jaguar in there and do AoE. But there's a lot of AoE going on right now. Even Brennan Godzilla explodes this AoE. Des Ghidorah, Biollante as a unit, Kiryu, and even the Sunday and the Dimension Tide. And there's just so much AoE that you can take those crystals down pretty fast. He hits hard and gets more HP, allowing him to win more 1v1, make him more powerful. Space Godzilla's an A tier. I feel like Space Godzilla's attack even his stats are the same. I think maybe if his health was increased, he would be like an A tier unit. He's really good, but I don't think he's an A tier anymore. He's just not seeing any play anywhere, even with the buff to the crystals. They didn't buff the percentage of the crystals, but they buffed the crystals' health themselves, and he's still not seeing a lot of play. He's expensive too. He's 6 energy. There's a lot of 6 energy cost units that I think are better, like Kiryu, Ghidorah, and Ultima, and then for 1 less energy, you could use Batra. So it sucks. Trains, C tier. Trains are decent, but decent enough damage. I got like an itch right on the outside of my nose. You know, I always thought AoEs be more powerful. You need to make single hit attackers better, like Space Godzilla and Rodan. Yeah, like we need better single target tanks, or we need just better tanks in general. Like we really don't have too many options for tanks. We don't have a flying tank at all. I mean, you could count, I guess, Megagurus as a flying tank, but he's only a flying tank because there's nothing else in the game that's close to it. Space is played for the crystals. For him to be an S or even A, he would need a stat booster to spawn a lot more crystals, and the crystals get one shot by everything, so I have no clue what they're talking about. That's what I'm saying. If you can protect, if your Space Godzilla is in the middle of like a huge team fight, buffing your squad, that's fine. But there's so much AoE going on right now, especially with Biollante's buff. There's so much range going on right now that those crystals are toast, man. They're really good at stopping like King Caesars and stuff, though. My deck is a family Godzillas, Queen Mothra, and electric tanks. Whatever those tanks are, is that good for you? Not really. It sounds expensive. You have all the Godzillas in there and Mothra, and then the M-Boss for some reason. You could probably do a little bit better than that, bud. I mean, I know a lot of people are using theme decks like all Godzillas and stuff, which is fine. I don't care, but or at least I shouldn't say I don't care, but I'm not going to judge you for it. But there's definitely better. If you want to progress your ranking, there probably is better options than that. All right. This is going to be a controversial opinion, You guys can't see what the next character is on the list. Oh, let's get him to 2,000 subs. I'm almost at 1,200. Actually, before I checked the stream, I was at 1,198. I don't know if we hit 1,200 while we have been streaming. We did. Look at that. Mazel tov. I just looked. 1,200. I would love to hit 2,000 subs. That would be crazy. So, have you seen the live stream clip and it's a fight me demon get out of here, brothers? I don't know why, but that's so funny. I don't know. Is that from Halo? I don't know. Trades are purely for countering energy based on lighthouse units. Yeah. But controversial opinion because you guys can't see who's next, like down here, but I can show you it now. I think G89 is not as good this season as he has been. Swarm deck gets roasted in the new meta. Swarm decks haven't been any useful ever since season 1. But I want to know what you guys have to say about G89 being in B tier. I'm going to put it in the Discord. I put it in the Discord, G89 B tier, fight me. He's just not... I mean, he's a great unit. He has great stats. No, G89 has not always been B tier. G89 is one of the highest health units in the game and one of the highest damaging units in the game. G89 is a powerhouse, an absolute powerhouse. But right now, the meta is flying units and ranged units, and he can't hit flying units, and he's going to get cooked by ranged units. It's an SCP game from Steam. I don't know what that is. He's a... Yeah, so this is what my Discord says, that they agree that he's B tier, he's a bad tank, and he's a bad tank right now, he's easily counterable. Okay, first of all, G89 is the best tank in the game, but for the reasons that I just said, I'll go over it again. I see there's some questions about it. So G89, right, you can drop him down on water and use Biollante's buff. You can drop it, you have to go, but here's super chat to support the show. Thank you, Not Your Father. That is the second super chat from you, I think, actually, so... That's huge. I love the big support. Any money made on stream or on ads or whatever goes to help the channel and support the channel and polls and giveaways, stuff like that. So thank you for the $2. It's huge. Absolutely huge champion over there. And I can it highlights your message, so I can totally it stands out in the crowd. It's absolutely awesome. Thank you, man. I have to put up with a lot in this job, Guardian. See, and it gave the notification a little late on my end, but it's pretty cool though. Thank you, thank you. Honestly, I don't think there is a meta. Sure, there are units that everyone uses, like, there's no meta because there isn't a team that everyone can play off each other. I have a counter argument for you, Lane. There is a meta. The meta is ranged and flying. Because Biollante as a leader is the best leader in the game, period. And we're going to talk about that in the tier list, but I don't think it's a surprise. Biollante, best leader in the game, buffs. Ranged units. There are flying units, right? There are flying ranged units like Batra and King Ghidorah. And those, having them be not hittable by certain units is amazing. Ultimate can be hit by everything, right? King Ghidorah can only be hit by like half the units in the game. There is a meta, and that's why G89 is so low. Is because G89 has some of the best health in the game, some of the best damage in the game. And he's incredible, right? But he's going to get cooked before he even reaches the enemy leader. If you are using anything that's not Biollante or Gigan and you place G89, he's going to get cooked immediately. Certainly, do you agree with me the main menu Toho should add more poster slots for the buildings? I would like to see more posters, or like billboards or something would be fun. G9 has too many counters. I mean, you can just place a lot of things with Manila. Yeah, that's exactly. What does meta mean? I've heard it, but I don't know. So meta is a term, and it's like... I don't remember the exact definition. I'll give it to you right now, actually. It's just like the most used, like, thing. So meta says, meta terminology in gaming. I know what it means, but I can't tell you the exact definition. In essence, a meta in gaming terminology is a generally agreed upon strategy by the community. Said strategy is considered to be the most optimal way to win, has the best performance at a specific task. And some people have defined meta as an acronym meaning most effective tactics available. Meta. Okay, I'm talking too fast. What would you like me to repeat? They're just too expensive to use. I don't want to use a team where I want a 10-second period where I can't place anything on the field. Using flying or ranged units are just so expensive. I mean, you want to talk about non-expensive ranged units? Hedera, Batra, Biollante, Manila. But anyway, there isn't a team that I've seen that just feels good using. I mean, I'm having a great time with my team, and it's Biollante leader with Ghidorah, Ultima, Batra, Manila, Hedera, Caesar, and the Kamakurus. And I have a really great time just taking pot shots at people from like a million mile away. You know, I mean, I have a good time using it. If you're not enjoying the deck, I won't obviously knock you for that. But there definitely is a meta, and it's definitely ranged units, especially because Biollante's ability is so powerful. Ranged and flying, I think, is the current meta. What is the cheapest yet powerful deck you can think of? I mean, my deck is an average cost of 3.5 energy. Alright, but Super X. Super X is B tier. Super X is pretty good. I mean, Super X is still very good. X is S, good range with 89 or bio leader. He can melt targets. I don't think the X is S tier because it's extremely expensive. Compared, it's slower and it's more expensive now. What is it? Like a 2.8 speed now? I'll look at my phone. I don't think the Super X is S tier. Super X, I think, is B tier just because of the cost, and I mean, it can't be one-shotted, but I mean, if you can make a good argument for it to be anything higher than B tier, I will seriously consider it. But it was just nerfed too hard. It was just nerfed so hard, you know. It didn't need to be done as dirty as it was. But its attack speed is now 2.8 seconds. And it's 5 energy now. I mean, that is a lot. Super X is an A. It carries my team. I mean, I can throw it into A. I mean, that seems to be like the middle ground. I wish the meta was more ground focused. I think the game might be more fun if it was, but the 89 would be spammable. I just want Kong to be viable. I also do want Kong to be viable. B is fair on the cost alone. Yeah, I mean, Tuscan Cow. Super X should have HP increase tremendously. If the Super X's HP was stronger, then there could be a case for A. But for 5 cost, it dies super fast. It's extremely powerful from a long range, and with Biollante's buff, it's incredibly strong. But I think I'm gonna keep it in the B tier. I think this might be the underrated unit of the night. I think there's a strong case to be made for A tier, but I definitely don't think that it is S tier at all. Super X would be real. If Super X was 4 energy, it would still be just as playable. Gigan is garbage. I'll get that out of the way for you. Oh, I'm a little low on the screen. But Gigan down here is Super X is one of the best units, but since Toho nerfed it so hard, I rarely see people win Super X matches. It's like alright. In Kong 5, if Kong's energy was lowered, he'd be really good. Embarrass match if they had Showa. Oh my god, there's so many messages coming in. That's why I said Toho kills Super X. Yeah. Okay. Gigan, bad. Gigan dead on arrival, same as the bomber. They do the same thing, except he's on the ground. So like half the units can attack the bomber, all the units can attack Gigan. Gigan bad. Is there a case to be made for Gigan anything higher than D? You let me know. Gigan is not that great. As a leader, we'll talk about that. Gigan is very good as a leader. As a unit, not that great. Jet Jaguar, B tier. I love Jet Jaguar. I wish Jet Jaguar was S tier. Can Gigan still push other units? Yeah. Gigan used to be meh. Especially now that we can... So Gigan's just going to run straight forward at an enemy leader, and now with Dimension Tide and Sonda, you can basically stop him from doing whatever he's supposed to do before a unit even hits him. Jet Jaguar, B tier, because Jet Jaguar can hit multiple units at the same time. His ability is fantastic. He just does not have too much health. He's a great tank. I think Jet Jaguar is like the second best tank right after G89. And he's cheap, he's 4 energy, and he's long range, so he does benefit from the Biollante buff, which is kind of crazy. But overall B tier. I like him a lot. I used to run him all the time, but now that air units are pretty much all over the place and he can't hit air, I don't take him. Depends on the level Gigan is. No. Gigan is just going to die, like, immediately, before he gets anywhere. I don't think I've ever had a Gigan ever reach my base at all. Every time I see a Gigan, it's a non-issue. My ultimate just turns around and nukes him and then goes on with his day. Gigan can be good as a distraction. The Discord will do our part in moving X up in the tiers. Let me go look at the Discord. At melee X representation. If you don't, when you see Super X, you do everything to kill it exactly, which is why it's better than B. I don't care if that's offensive, you lose the game for 3 days, no to counter X. X is A or S because when he's placed, do you counter him? I know you do, Lamau, because it does good damage. You son of a bitch, use the ultimate defense on me. Okay. A tier. You happy, Discord? Something that worries me if when they finally run out of Kaiju to add, I wonder what they will do. I don't know. There's a lot of Kaiju. Gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. I hope they do like concepts for Kaiju or like variations. Like I would love a like a variation of a Kaiju. I would love to see Super Mecha Godzilla. You know, I would love to see Super Godzilla. I would love to see the poster version of Ghidorah. You know, there's just tons of variants you could do with characters, which is great. Last but not least is Kong. They could also add more equipments and supports. Kong is B tier. I love Kong. Kong is so good. Kong is actually so good and is very underrated. His Achilles heel is that he is not very strong. Battleline tweeted something. Is it important? Is it something that I can react to in a minute? Oh, it's a link. Oh gosh. What did they post? Thank you for using Godzilla Battleline. Maintenance will be carried out. Oh. After the maintenance is completed, communication with the game server may become unstable. Details. The event total advanced battle will be held. Campaign period will be extended due to its popularity. The following campaign will be extended to December 20th. So that's for the gold, double gold. 4-piece acquisition campaign, ultimate search map, present Goji Bat comeback campaign. Oh, are they putting the results in of the titles? Or is this of the... I don't know what this is for. This is the gold that they gave out. Okay, interesting. Okay, we're getting a bunch of different things. When did they post that? A minute ago? Yeah, okay. Go in the Discord. Many reasons why King Ghidorah is S tier? Nope. King Ghidorah not S tier. If they add custom YouTuber Kaiju, yeah, they should add the fucking giant octopus this game. They need to do skins. I would love skins. Okay, reduces cost to 5. They maybe add a small buff, and he's really good, but overall the meta doesn't favor him. Okay, Kong. Let me give you right now the fix for Kong to make him one of the best units in the game. Kong becomes 5 cost energy, right? And then as a leader, instead of his ability lasting for 15 seconds, it is 45, and it does, instead of affecting units of a particular energy, it just affects all units. Like, okay, if you did all low or all small to medium ranged units get Kong's buff, amazing. Kong would be amazing. Kong is not worth throwing in right now in your deck. I mean, if you look at his stats, he's on par with G89, just about. I mean, his stats are very similar to G89. He's just hard to level because he's a 4-star. You know, if you were to make him a 3-star, his stats would be pretty close. When they run out of Kaiju, they finally add the Giga Chad Hamtaro. No, they better add Hamtaro now, or I'll pay for Hamtaro. But, with just a few small changes, Kong could be one of the better units in the game. But, he's not a bad unit to run, honestly. He's not. His stats are very good. He's just too expensive to run, which sucks. If he was lower to 4 or 5 energy, I promise you he would be seeing a lot of play, because his hits, I'm pretty sure his punches do AoE. Manila can't stun Kong. Manila has never been able to stun lock Kong. But, I don't think he has been, because Kong is pretty good. But, Kong has the potential to be very good, but he is not very good. But with that being said, here's the full tier list.